Go.
How pissed would you be if I hit record before telling you I hit record?
I saw when it popped up. I kept going. I'm a trooper. I'm here for it.
So Erin,
Yeah.
we've been tweeps
Yeah.
for I don't know how long, many years.
Not
And
just
then
I feel like we've been twest twins.
are you suggesting that we were best friends via Twitter?
We're Twitter best friends. Yeah. For
So
sure.
as a twest twend,
Yeah.
can I ask if you're wearing pants right now, or what's the work from home situation with the fancy sweater?
Fancy sweater on top, yoga pants on bottom.
Okay, so
Definitely.
you were living the dream basically.
The thing is, no, with yoga pants though, like even if like your legs get caught on camera for whatever reason, they look like black pants. Like you don't even look like you're, that far off base.
That's fair.
Pro
That's
tip.
fair.
Pro tip
So
number one.
So we just did a Twitter chat about working from home and the importance of having structured days and structured workstations, etc. Yet at home, you're still pajama pants pro.
Yoga. It's very different because like the difference
Okay.
between pajama pants and yoga pants is like with pajama pants, you're kind of limited in terms of activities you can just fly into. Whereas with yoga
Yeah.
pants, at any moment in the day, I can break into downward dog. I can go for
Yeah.
a run. I'm ready.
So you have famously made bouldering famous.
No, I did not, but I really enjoy it.
I'm pretty sure Altitude Gym owes like 80% of the revenue to you.
Well,
Are you comfortable at home now? How are you guys holding up at home, and how's the fam?
yeah, so family's good. Willow's actually loving not having to go to school, so she's just adoring that. So that's good. Jason and I are, figuring out the two people working from home at the same time thing. So basically, like I'm at the dining room table. He's at our battle stations in the basement because we're also big gamers. But in terms of like climbing, we obviously haven't been able to climb. And the challenge with like being a climber in Canada right now is that it's not ideal situation outside to go outdoor climbing.
Sure.
And so we have a hangboard in the basement. And so, that at least can like keep us like hanging, but you can't really do much with it because it's just a practice board. So
I need to interrupt here because I'm like that. But
yeah, it's fine.
first of all, battle stations?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So battle station's like a computer setup specifically for gaming.
Okay.
So in our basement, we have like, Jace has one, I have one, Willow has her own.
Okay. And my second question is hang stations?
The what, sorry?
You said hang stations?
Oh yeah, so the hang board is like a practice board specifically to get your the tendons in your fingers stronger, to get you just used to hanging. So it's got like these little like kind of slats in it, and then you can do things like full almost like a jug hold, which is like bigger. You can do sloper holds, and then you can also do just like 2-finger, 3-finger holds. It's just to like get used to hanging. So you basically you put your hands on it wherever you want on any one of those types of holds, and then you like ideally you're standing on a stool, and then you just like the stool's to the side, and then you move off the stool and you hang. And you're not supposed to hang for very long because your tendons can actually get quite a little sore. So it's meant to just be like you hang for, let's say, like, I don't know, 5 to 7 to 10 seconds, and then you get down, and then you do it again.
Okay, so it's kind of like, crushing dumbbells at the gym like a bro.
Well,
yeah. Fingers at home.
For your hands and your fingers, yeah. Although it's weird, like I never have fingernails anymore, but I have some right now. So that's really strange. And my hands are really soft right now, which is also really strange, and I kind of hate it.
You're probably using less chalk right
less now. Chalk and like less hole. Like even though we've got the hangboard, it's just not the same amount of climbing. So all of my calluses that I had built up are all gone.
Okay, so that's an interesting segue. So you have famously been like an entrepreneur for many, many years. You were the face of L Spark, and realistically, you probably still are. um, you're one of few people that have made a major transition career-wise right before now.
Yeah.
How's it been?
Good, really good. So, I mean, all of those transitions were really good. Going from being self-employed to kind of working again was interesting in its own way. Like that comes with, I would say, different challenges, different opportunities. Going to Elspark obviously was great. I loved working with the startups, still in contact with many of them, as well as the team there. And they've been doing a great job even without me. So I know you said that I'm still the face. Definitely not, but I'm still a huge champion for sure. But yeah, now I'm at Fellow and really loving it. Like Fellow, I would say is it's exactly within sort of the tool set that I just nerd out on. So I'm a huge fan of like productivity tools, and Fellow's right there. And I don't need to do like a whole elevator pitch, but what I will say is it's been a fantastic transition for me to go somewhere where I'm more focused on product, where I'm more focused on kind of growing a brand, and that kind of thing. And it's been super fun. And because it's such a great tool for remote teams, like even this transition with moving to like us being a remote team as well and working from home, it's actually been great because we serve the audience that is now, a lot of people are finding themselves in this situation for the first time. And we're able to be right there to help them with like their meetings and their agendas and collaboration with their teams in that regard. So it's been fun.
So one thing I'm really curious of
is,
and I forget if it was Twitter or it was somewhere online today. It could have been anywhere really. But someone was talking about the biggest impact to digital transformation in 2020 has been 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And one of them was the CEO, and one of them was the CTO, and the other was the old COVID. For these organizations that are transitioning now, really for the first time to remote, or not even remote, but forced remote, what do you think is going to happen when, I don't want to say blows over, I don't want to downplay anything, but when we ultimately come out of this on the other side better as individuals and as a community, and people are healthy and safe and all that kind of stuff, what do you think is going to happen to the future of flexibility or the future of remote now that there's this prove it step that could last who knows how long, like 1 week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, where it's like, oh yeah, you can trust your employees to work from home. Like, what do you think the long-term impact is going to be on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be so many things that change. I mean, obviously, like I don't have a fortune, telling background. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think there will be a lot of things that change. I think you touched on a big one, which is that people will learn how to trust their employees, and be able to see that work can still happen, work can still get done no matter where people are. Like it's not what's around you necessarily that makes you a more productive person or more engaged or dedicated to your job, but it really is like, do you love what you're doing? And if the answer is yes, and you've got clear goals and objectives and directives and a great team and a good product or service that you're working on, if all those elements are there, like you can do that kind of work anywhere. So I think from where I sit, like I think the biggest thing to come out of all of this will be a more relaxed approach when it comes to working from home. And I think you'll see people advocating to have work lives that complement their like personal and home lives versus so much of our time, energy, money, et cetera, being dedicated to going into a physical office, because there's a lot that goes along with that. Like if you've got a commute, you're paying for parking, you're paying for daycare for your kids, after school programs, like whatever it might be. There's a lot of that goes away with a lifestyle like this. And so I think, at least for me, like I see the money that's staying in my bank account that I'm able now to funnel to supporting local businesses right now in the time of COVID. But like I'm seeing a lot of benefits from being here, more time with my daughter, more time with my family, the ability to make home cooked meals. Like I'm not eating out as much. So I think that's what we'll see moving forward is just people advocating for a better work-life integration versus, just having so much of their lives be focused on on work and the setup around work.
Got it. So one of my favorite things about you, and I know I tweeted something the other day about three of my favorite things about Erin Blaskie, but one that I didn't surface digitally without your consent, obviously, because that's important, was, and this is something that we have in common, is how much of a diehard fan you are of professional wrestling. And
What?
I know that Wrestlemania is this weekend, and I know it's kind of transitioned from the grandest stage of them all, this massive live event, to a recorded presentation via some sort of studio. Who do you think is going to come out the night as the champ?
Okay, first question is, where on earth did you hear that I'm a fan of Wrestlemania?
You bought me tickets to see SmackDown 2 years ago. Like, I just assumed that you were into it.
Absolutely not. Although, do you want to know a funny story? So 2 days ago, we're going for a walk outside, and Willow comes running through the middle of Jace and I, and she runs through and she puts her arms up in the air and starts going, John Cena! And it was a moment that I was just like, what? And so I had to stop her. I was like, do you know who John Cena is? She was like, no. I'm like, well, how do you know what to do? Like, how do you know about this? So that would make you proud, I'm sure.
I'll have you know that John Cena has delivered more Make-A-Wish wishes than anyone on the planet. And although he has his 5 moves of doom and he never loses, he's still a good guy. He's a good human being.
I love Make-A-Wish, so that makes me happy.
There you go. Okay, last question.
Okay, Willow from upstairs just said, I heard that. Yeah.
Last question.
Okay.
What have you learned about yourself that has surprised you the most over the past 2 weeks?
That's a great question. You know what's interesting is, like, I actually worked from home for 14 years prior to joining Allspark. Like, that, I was fully remote. All my clients were in different parts of the world. So for me, this is actually a return back to a normal, very familiar state for me. So that said, though, like, I think what's been interesting is that this time I'm obviously working remote for a company versus like working remote for clients. So I'm working in a team. That's very different. And I think what I've learned is that I work, you know, and I already kind of knew this, but I work very well independently. But what I've learned is, like, just how much I really enjoy being a part of a team, and having that, like, you know, group of people who are all rallying around a similar cause and wanting to see, like, the same success and share in that. And I think what I've learned in the last 2 weeks is just how much I really appreciate that, which I didn't think I appreciated in the first 14 years that I worked from home. Yeah, just because I didn't have it. So I didn't know what I was missing. But now that I have it, I think I've learned just, like, how much I love being a part of a team. Yeah, how much I love, like, the shared goal setting, the shared celebrations, and then also sharing the failures too, right? Like, I think it's all of it, but I've really, really learned that about myself. And how much I love not having a fixed schedule. I am not the kind of person that loves Groundhog Day style days. Like, I actually hate it. And I don't know how much weight you put into, like, horoscopes and things, but, like, I'm a Sagittarius. I'm true to my nature. I'm very spontaneous. I hate structure for the most part. And I've loved this because, like, I've been able to sort of start work at a natural cadence for when I, like, you know, kind of I'm ready to get into it. I can work later without feeling like I need to rush to a school pickup. Willow not having to go to school means I don't have to make lunches every day the same way. So there's a lot about this that I've realized that I love as well. As, like, I realize I'm, like, not a very, I don't enjoy rigid structure all the time. I like flow.
What I'm hearing is you like flow. You like spontaneity.
Yeah.
You like behaving in the way that the moon kind of directs you to a little bit.
A little bit, sure.
So what I'll share to that, and I know I made you a promise yesterday that I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
If I were to say,
yeah,
Is this the real life?
Is this just fantasy?
Amazing. I'm looking
I
forward.
want to keep going. I'm here all day.
I'm sure your tweeps will be happy to see this if they ever see this. But Erin,
They will, of course. Yeah.
always a pleasure. I'm glad you and the family are safe. You're keeping half sane in the half dressed variety, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Yoga pants and fancy sweater.
See, now I feel like I wasn't dressed appropriately. I'm gonna have to put on a sweater for my next one.
Yeah, do it like a fancy one.
I don't know that I own one, but I'll do my best.
Find one with puffy sleeves.
You're asking a lot of me right now. You really are.
All right. Well, thanks so much for chatting.
You be good. You be well.
Okay, I will. Bye.